Hey guys! Welcome back to my channel. So yesterday was, what day was it? April 6th, 2020, which is the day that I launched my first YouTube. I've had a lot of positive feedback so far. People have even started making the recipes, which is so exciting to me. And I love that people are adjusting the recipe to whatever they have in their pantry and on hand, because that is exactly how they're meant to be. If you like what you see, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to get more videos like this every week. Have you guys ever wondered, how do restaurants get such perfect crispy tofu every time? It's like perfectly crispy on the outside, pillowy soft on the inside, and it's smothered and covered in like some delicious sauce. I think tofu is kind of a hard food to work with, and because of that, a lot of people think tofu is bland or they just don't like the flavor of tofu. But I'm here to change your mind. So some problems that I used to run into when I would make tofu is there'd be too much water, and when I would try to fry it, it would stick to the pan and then it would just, crumble and fall apart, and nobody wants to eat that. Today I thought that I would show you a little trick on how I get perfect crispy tofu.
Perfect crispy tofu.
We've all been quarantining for a while now, and you've probably baked all the breads, and maybe you think that it's time to start cooking and eating a little bit healthier at home. Have you ever wanted to try tofu, but you just don't know how to approach it? I grew up eating lots of delicious Chinese tofu dishes. Tofu was never weird to me, but when I decided to cook it for myself, I was intimidated to say the least. There's so many different kinds: soft, medium, firm, extra firm, silken. On top of that, there's so many different ways to cook it. Should I bake it? Should I fry it? Do I scramble it? Do I need to press it first? And why is it that every time I try to cook tofu, it comes out so bland? So I just didn't cook tofu for a long time. But when I started dating Forrest, he kind of forced my hand because he loves tofu and cooking is kind of my love language. So I kind of made myself stumble and fumble until I could perfect tofu. And I've gotten to the point where I like it. So I want to share my tips with you. So this will be part one in a mini series of how to make tofu more approachable, accessible, and delicious at home. So I thought we would start off with something easier for beginner tofu cooks. And that is fried tofu. Fried tofu can be great crispy, seasoned and eaten on its own, or you can pair fried tofu with a delicious sauce, and the sauce is able to stick to the breading of the tofu, thereby imparting a lot of flavor to the tofu. That is the trick, my friends. Fried tofu tip number one is for a light, airy, crispy tofu. I use a mix of flour, rice flour, and sweet potato flour. And let me tell you why. Now you can see in this video I have two different bowls. One is red and one is blue. I was testing different batter recipes at the time of filming, and at the time I was using rice flour and sweet potato flour separately. Sweet potato flour gives it a nice light, airy texture, a little lighter than rice flour even. Rice flour is ground finer, therefore it coats the tofu better than sweet potato flour. That's why I like to blend both. And as for the regular flour, this is what gives your batter more of a crunch than, a light crisp. So I still like to use some regular flour in my batter. I don't omit it completely.
If you can't find rice flour, you can actually make your own rice flour by grinding up rice in either like a coffee grinder or a blender. You just pulse it till it's really fine. You can add other seasonings to your breading that would complement your dish. I kept it basic here since I'm showing you basics, but try garlic powder, onion powder, coriander seeds, chili flakes, whatever you like. Fried tofu tip number 2, use medium firm tofu if available. You want the crispy coating to contrast with a pillowy soft tofu to set off a texture bomb in your mouth. Fried tofu is delicious because of this soft to crunchy contrast, which is much less distinct when using firm or extra firm tofu. Even though it's easier to handle, frying extra firm tofu makes it extra firm, which is kind of like ordering a well-done steak. Cut your tofu lengthwise first, then cut into whatever size and shape you like. Bigger pieces equals less turning, which means easier frying. Pat any excess water off the tofu, but a little moisture is okay here because the starch will bind to it. I never press my tofu before using it because I am not that forward thinking when I am meal planning. Heat up that wok. Heat up that wok. Heat up that wok till it's hot. You want it smoking. Fried tofu tip number 3. Use an oil with a high smoke point, like avocado or vegetable oil. Avoid frying in olive oil because it has a lower smoke point and it'll overheat and burn in your pan. Your wok is smoking, turn the heat down to medium and heat 3 tablespoons of oil. You don't need a lot of oil, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. It's time to fry. Fried tofu tip number 4. Gently place your tofu in an even layer in the pan. Try not to overcrowd them as the breading can make them stick together. Once your tofu are in the pan, do not disturb and let them fry until golden. Always season fried food right after it comes out of hot oil.